1 year ago today, devastating wildfires ripped through Pacific Palisades and Altadena. They destroyed homes, displaced families, and really changed lives forever. Today, we're talking about what really causes most homes to burn and how we can try and stop it. So joining us live is wildland firefighter Nikolai Allen. He's on the very front lines of fire prevention. Nikolai, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so as soon as I say that, 1 year ago today, all of this started happening. You were there. Tell us about that.
I was there. Normally, I'm responding to forest fires, as a federal resource, and it's very different handling fire in the forest versus what I saw in the Palisades. The scene was very chaotic. There was down power lines, through the road, so resources couldn't even get, drive through to help, and the winds were so heavy that it just created a conflagration like we couldn't. Hadn't seen before, and the winds were so bad they had to ground the aircraft too. Mm-hmm. So once you ground the aircraft, there's not much that you can do to stop the forward spread.
So most homes, you say, most homes lost in wildfires don't actually ignite from direct flames, right? Right.
Windborne embers traveling even a mile ahead of the fire, trying to get in through attic vents, even doggy doors, gaps in your garage door when you have heavy winds and they're pushing the garage door. I took a gentleman back to his house who had lost it because of gaps in the garage door.
Wow.
Yeah, from embers entering.
I think people think that as a fire is moving, it gobbles up their home. But you're saying, no, it's when that wind blows, that burning ember. A lot of times it's palm fronds in Southern California.
Yeah.
And that's what explodes on our home and catches it on fire.
Absolutely. There's a lot of new research and science being done by people that are much smarter than me. But what I've seen firsthand, and also the data that's coming in, is you can't have any fuel that's near your structure. It's just like when you're starting to light a campfire. You place small sticks first, called kindling, or newspaper, and then you place the larger logs. If you try to just take a lighter up against a big log and try to catch it on fire, it won't catch. Imagine that's your house. So your house has things around the structure, like plants, vegetation, or wood or debris that hasn't been cleaned. Those things leaning up against your house or your structure can ignite from windborne embers that are being picked up by the fire front and being dropped and deposited on your home or on the vegetation around it. If that catches fire and it's up against your structure, then it's more likely to catch your structure on fire.
So when you walk up to a home after a fire has gone through, what are the first signs that tell you how it burned, how it ignited?
A lot of the homes that I personally saw were from the attic vents, because you can see the whole attic was gone, or the garage, like the garage doors are burnt up and the garage is completely consumed, and then the rest of the house is still burning. I was watching some of the footage in the green room that you guys were playing on the live news segment, and I was seeing that exact same phenomenon. As you can see, it's going in through the attics, it's going in through garage doors, and then it's starting there and catching the structure on fire.
Why, because it's an opening?
It's an opening. So if wind can get in a gap in your house, then embers can go right behind it.
So what do you think is the most overlooked fire risk you still see around homes in Southern California? Things being too close to the house?
In Southern California, there's a lot of areas that like their privacy. I live here too. I live in Ventura, California. I live in the highest risk fire zone, and also on a mountain. So I'm at the top. Fire moves faster up hills. So, and I'm usually out at a fire when there's a fire near my house. Yeah, so I employ all the same stuff at my own house with my own family. But we need to change the way that we think about fire. And you can't have any kindling, so to speak, near or up against your structure, because that's what it acts as. Same with the trees around your property. If you have trees that are touching each other, if one catches fire, automatically you know the other one is gonna catch fire because they're touching. So if you can create some space between the trees around your property, if you can bring them up off the ground and have no vegetation around them to make it less likely for that to act as ladder fuel to catch your tree on fire, So we have to keep up with the brush clearance, and we have to create that defensible space around the home where you don't have combustibles that are right up against that structure or within the 5 feet immediately surrounding the structure.
Okay, so you've brought this in. You wanted to create something. It was a new tool that you thought families could use that they don't have. You created this. It's called SAFE, Safe Sauce.
Yeah, Safe, SOSS, endearingly called Safe Sauce, yeah,
Okay.
by a lot of customers already. This has been in development for over 5 years. The whole concept started as after the Woolsey fire, some homes would get retardant dropped on them and some wouldn't, and that's hard to control. And it was kind of like, how can some homes be saved and not others? And what if there was a way to let homeowners do their own drops, so to speak, and put their own fire retardant on there? And that started the process. But through training and real world experiencing fires, realizing that just a spray on vegetation or around your home wouldn't block embers from going into your attic or into your garage door. So I didn't want to put this out until it was a more complete solution, and now it is, and it just launched in Lowe's.
Okay, so how does it work, and what do people do?
So this, it looks like a lava rock, but it's actually malleable and you can cut it to size. So if I were to do any weekend project to prevent wildfire on my house, it would start with this. This is step one. And
where do you put it?
So this would go behind your existing metal mesh or code-approved vents in your attic or in your crawl space. And this is coated in activated carbon. So it'll help filter smoke and toxins even from neighboring wildfires. And it's like a heavy-duty activated carbon exterior filter. And the more ash and embers and stuff that it catches, it almost like self-clogs, and it's self-extinguishing. So it'll help catch the windborne embers and snuff them out.
Okay, so this is step one.
Yeah, this is the universal Ember Guard carbon filter. And if I were to do anything right away, I'd grab these and put them behind my vents, because this will help filter toxins and mold spores and has added benefits to leaving in your vents.
Okay, that's great.
And step two would be the tape. This is the Ember tape. This is actually made out of fiberglass. So same thing that fire blankets are made out of, thinner version, and it's pressure sensitive. So this you can use to tape up the gaps in your garage door, or if you have a doggy door, you can tape it up. A lot of times that's overlooked. And then thresholds, where your exterior door meets the ground. Where your threshold is, embers and debris can be pushed in there and pile up from the wind and then catch the door frame on fire.
So do you do this, like if there's a wildfire near you, you wouldn't do that now, right?
Correct, yeah. We recommend doing the filters as soon as you can, and replace them if there's a fire or smoke and ash in it. And then this, keep it in your garage. It's got a 5-year shelf life. So just keep it on hand. Same with the tape. It's actually a 10-year shelf life. So just have this as part of your kit.
Before you evacuate.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I recommend everyone getting the Watch Duty app.
Yes.
Which has been an absolute lifesaver, even in working on fires. I use Watch Duty. And I would recommend people that are living really in a wildfire area get the pre-evacuation notice, because then in the ready set phase, you could be applying these things. This can be sprayed, so after you have the vent guards in place and the ember tape up, this is waterproof. So even when you treat it after, it's not gonna damage the tape. You can apply this gallon to 400 square feet twice over in about 6 minutes. It's very quick. It takes up a lot of concentrate to be an effective dose. And this you could do after, but you don't need to treat your entire house. You don't have to spray your whole roof if it's a Class A roof and not combustible. Stucco, not combustible. Masonry, concrete, you don't need to spray it with this. This would just be for anything that's combustible, like wood siding or outbuildings, any wooden sheds, which by the way also need this in the vent so embers don't get inside. But just spraying it on anything combustible, basically anything you don't want to burn.
So this is a whole system. Does it come together? Do you buy them separately as it?
They're each separate, because some people might have 2 vents or 4 vents, so you can cut it to size. So you just count your vents and see how many you need of these. And then also, lastly, before you evacuate, you can spray your vents, because these guards are in there. Spray it with this solution. It hardens it before you go.
So I'm just looking at how much does something like this cost?
Oh, this is less than $40.
Oh, that's
The tape
wow.
is less than $30. This is $147, I think, and change.
How long has this been on the market?
Just launched. I mean, literally, I've been enjoying the rainy, wet winter because I know that a fire is not going to start,
Right.
especially here where last year I was actually out on fires. But it just launched just November.
So has anybody, have they had it in their home when a wildfire's gone through? Have anybody testing it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. We've obviously done all kinds of tests. And if you go into a Lowe's store and you see the QR code on the displays, you can scan it and you'll see a video of it working. But it's been tested on controlled burns, and there's videos of that. So personally in Nebraska, we use it to protect like a wildfire refuge area here and sent pretty hot flames at it. None of the firefighters that were there thought it was gonna block it. They were telling me it was gonna go black, and the fire just burned right up to it and stopped. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. I was talking to you about, this is a great tool for families, homeowners, because as we saw in LA and Altadena, there was just too many fires. They couldn't be everywhere. And we did see people standing in their property trying to hose down their own homes. You know that can be really deadly for people. They don't survive that. But this is something they can do before the fire gets up to their house, and they can still evacuate.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm trying to be education forward, and I've never been so humbled as I have by wildfire. Being in the middle of a wildfire and seeing its power and feeling the force of that. It's not something that I would recommend anybody idly being in, especially without proper training and without proper gear. And forget even just the direct fire front and the embers. By the time a fire is getting that close, the smoke in the air, it's so toxic, especially in the city. If there's electrical vehicles on fire and homes that are burning, all those synthetics that are burning inside the homes. And I know a lot of homeowners are getting frustrated and they want to stay behind with a trash pump in their pool. And I just can't in good conscience recommend that. And in my line of work, I've seen a lot of things and met a lot of people, and it's not worth your life to try and stay behind without training. And all I'll say is that it's dangerous being outside in 80-mile-an-hour winds without fire on the ground. Add fire on the ground, and it's just something that you don't want to be in. Yeah.
Okay. Nikolai, thank you so much for joining us.